Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat, Haryana. Today we will be discussing about the module Global and Local HR Strategies of the paper Strategic Human Resource Management. By the end of this module, students will be able to understand and learn about the need for developing local and global HR strategies, understand nuances of expanding globally with discussion on stages of international evolution, learn about organizational structures that fits their strategic needs, discuss issues in global expansion and whether companies are ready to face them, and explore ways in which HR strategies can be applied globally. According to Global Human Capital Trends Survey conducted by Deloitte in 2014, global HR and talent management is the second most urgent and most important trend for large companies around the world. Those with 10,000 or more employees especially. Economic, technological and competitive forces have pushed away many organizations from a domestic to a global focus. Advanced communication technology, ever expanding market and the seamless transportation have created a new, highly competitive landscape. The world is developing into a unified global arena and every company is forced to think globally. Countries like China, Brazil, Taiwan and Russia are redefining their place in Fortune magazine's list of Global 500 with 13 Chinese companies making debut in the list in 2018. This indicates the fact that economic clout is no more concentrated in the United States but shows a transformation in the world's business landscape. The following map exhibits where the Global 500 global companies are based, and we can see that in US, Europe and China are the three dominant seats of power. Fortune 500 global companies. Economic clout is no more concentrated in the United States, but there is a transformation in the world's business landscape. Countries like China, Brazil, Taiwan and Russia are redefining their place in Fortune magazine's list of Global 500, as we can see in the map. 13 Chinese companies made debut in the list in 2016. US, Europe and China are the three dominant seats of economic power. Let's now understand how global HRM differs from local HRM. Global businesses should have a global HR function. At the same time, in order to thrive and compete in diverse markets, companies should recruit, train and manage talent locally, reflecting local culture, demand and supply in the local labor markets and the need of diverse local business units. Managing talent mobility across global locations is another big challenge for HR. Companies should be agile enough to optimize talent management in every market where they do business. However, the decision to expand globally involves determining appropriate strategy for involvement in the host country. Strategies may differ from company to company based on their size, products, nature of operations, etc. A company like ABB applies a global HR strategy with main locus of power at the corporate level. The HR approach is highly centralized with managerial leeway towards HRM at the subsidiary level being small. In contrast, IKEA applies local HR strategies in a decentralized approach with main locus of power at the subsidiary HR level. A third category of organizations, including Unilever, Siemens and Procter & Gamble, apply HR strategies with elements of global HR strategy and leeway for local HR strategies. The balanced approach. Business strategies should be global in scale and local in implementation to make them global business strategies. Global integration is essential to maintain stability. Local customization is needed to bring flexibility and develop people locally to capitalize on their talent. Companies need to strike a perfect balance between them. So, what is local HRM? Companies should recruit, train and manage talent locally. They should consider demand and supply in the local labor markets. They should consider the needs of diverse local business units. Global HRM. Here, companies should be agile enough to optimize talent mobility across global locations. They should have effective strategies based on their size, products, nature of operations, etc. Organizations generally enter foreign markets in a staged manner. Let's take some examples. First, of global strategy. ABB HR approach is highly centralized. Main locus of power is at the corporate level. Example of local strategy. IKEA, there is decentralized approach. Main locus of power is at the subsidiary HR level. An example of global strategy. Unilever, Siemens, Procter & Gamble, both centralized and decentralized approach is followed in these companies. Stages of international evolution. Companies evolve from domestic to international to multinational and then global level. At the domestic level, strategic orientation is domestic. At the international level, strategic orientation is, that is, it is export oriented and multi-domestic. And third is multinational orientation, and fourth strategic orientation is global. At the stage of development, while the company is at the domestic level, there is initial foreign investment. At the international level, there is competitive positioning. At the multinational level, there is explosion of development, and at the global level, the development is global. With respect to structure, at domestic level, the structure is domestic plus export department. At international level, the structure is domestic plus international division. At the multinational level, the structure is spread worldwide and the product is geographic product. At the global level, structure is that of matrix structure and transnational. With respect to market potential, at the domestic level, market potential is moderate, mostly domestic. At the international level, market potential is large and multi-domestic. At the multinational level, market potential is very large and multinational. And at the global level, market potential is the whole world. Let's now discuss in somewhat more detail about these stages. Domestic stage. In the domestic stage, the company operates in the domestic market but is aware of the global environment and may plan to export its goods to a foreign country through an export department. This might require very limited presence of domestic employees. Priya pickles, which are famous for its various tasty pickles, may be successful in Indian market as pickle is very close with the Indian culture. But in case of international market, It would be difficult for Priya brand to withstand and have more profits because culture of foreigners is quite different. In the international stage, an international division is set up in the foreign country and specialists are hired to handle sales, services and warehousing abroad. In the multinational stage, the company has extensive experience in a number of international markets and has established marketing, manufacturing or research and development facilities in multiple foreign countries. Some examples of companies in this stage include Coca-Cola, Sony of Japan, Aditya Birla Group of India, Toyota, Honda, McDonalds, Pepsi, KFC, Adidas, Nike and Puma. In the global stage, companies transcend any single country and indeed become stateless corporations. They adopt matrix structure and the subsidiaries are interlinked in such a manner that competitive position in one country significantly influences activities in other countries. Unilever is an example of a global company. Strategic alliances with foreign partners. Subcontract or license certain goods or services. Joint venture with a foreign partner to form a separate entity. Example, Starbucks partnered with Tata Global Beverages to form Tata Starbucks Private Limited. Consortia is a cross-ownership arrangement between a group of independent companies that join together to share skills, resources, cost and access to one another markets. It is called Keiretsu in Japan and Chaebol in Korea. Strategies for global versus local opportunities. Managers must decide whether they want activities to be standardized across countries or whether each global affiliate should act autonomously. First, let's take globalization strategy, which means that product design, manufacturing and marketing strategy are standardized across the world. For example, Gillette company, which makes grooming products such as Mach 3 shaving system for men and Venus razor for women, has large production facilities that manufacture products whose technical specifications are standardized around the world. Now let's take localization strategy. It encourages product design, assembly and marketing tailored to the specific needs of each country in which it operates. For example, KFC gives local managers real decision making powers and allows them to offer regional dishes that appeal to tastes in specific areas of the country. Here we see the model to fit organization structure to international advantages. There are two variables, forces for global integration and forces for national responsiveness. International division with domestic structure is appropriate when the strategy for global standardization and local responsiveness is low. The strategy for global product structure is appropriate when the forces for global integration is high and forces for national responsiveness are low. Here, selling standardized products worldwide provides a source of competitive advantage. Global geographic structure is appropriate when forces for national responsiveness are high and forces for global integration are low. In such cases, companies can gain competitive advantage by responsive to unique needs in various countries in which they operate. Global matrix structure is appropriate when forces for global integration as well as forces for national responsiveness are high. This structure is appropriate when companies need to respond to both global and local opportunities simultaneously. Part of the product line needs to be standardized globally and other parts tailored to the needs of the local countries. Let's take an example of McDonald's with respect to global HR strategy. When US fast food king initially expanded its business outside its home country, it adopted an ethnocentric approach to going global. US expatriates were sent abroad to develop new sites and maintain as much consistency as possible with domestic operations. Locals were McDonaldized, taught the specific operations and business plans being developed in US. However, the company faced huge problems because of changing environment and shift in consumer tastes. People became health conscious and preferred less beef and fat in their meals. Competitors like Chili's, Taco Bell, and Wendy's began to seize McDonald's customers. So they had to change their global strategy and needed to adopt a new approach based on flexibility. When opening new locations outside the US, they rarely used expatriates, and the HR professional worked closely with locals to develop an operation that fits the local culture, customers, and lifestyles. It opened many different kinds of restaurants serving food customized to the local needs. The goal was a quick response to customers' needs and competitors' moves and the need to squeeze out costs to keep prices low. McDonald's polycentric approach for global operations included HR or human resource department as a key strategic partner. In global HR strategies of McDonald's, human resource management department had a critical role to play in different stages as illustrated below. Phase 1 consisted of development preparation phase lasting from 18 to 24 months prior to opening. HR research issues such as compensation and benefit, considers recruiting, secures labor autonomy. In phase 2, this is the resource selection phase, which is 8 to 12 months prior to opening. HR uses phase 1 data and develops HR programs determining staff needs and compensation level. Phase 3 is resource development and strategy implementation phase, which is 3 to 8 months prior to opening. HR puts together employee handbooks, considers local labor laws, and hires employees. Phase 4, this is pre-opening preparation phase, 90 days prior to opening. HR conducts training and lays performance review system. So this is how McDonald's conducts his HR development activities before opening new centers across the world. Let's discuss about strategic HR issues in global expansion. Global human resources present some unique contingencies. Leading companies often need to move talent from region to region to address key talent gaps. They face the need to move high performers to global assignments rapidly. Managing people in global settings requires HR to address a broad range of functional areas. This includes classifying taxation issues, coordinating foreign currencies, exchange rates and compensation plans, and working directly with the families of employees who may be accepting overseas assignments. It requires more involvement in the employees' personal lives. They are assisted in acquiring housing in the host country, selling or leasing domestic accommodations, arranging and paying for school for the employee's children, and locating and securing domestic help for the employee. companies may require setting up different HR departments for different geographic locations, and hence maintaining coordination among them becomes a challenge. Global assignments often involve a heightened exposure to risks that include health and safety of employees and family, legal issues in the host country, possible terrorism, and the human and financial consequences of mistakes, which may exceed the cost of those made domestically. Proper training of employees is required so that they are well equipped to work on global assignments. Are companies ready to face the globalization challenge? Dynamics of the local labor market varies hugely across different countries, with each market operating with its own set of customers, competitors, supply chains, and local talent. To build and maintain strong HR strategies, companies should make these strategies flexible enough so that they can be customized to the local markets. The talent markets in Asia, for example, are far different from those in Western Europe and North America. Although Indian and Chinese markets have huge supply of labor, skilled labor is still in short supply. With millennials in India supposed to occupy 64% of the workforce by 2021, according to 2013-14 economic survey, workplace dynamics have begun to change. Top candidates change jobs every 9 to 12 months. Salaries are increasingly nearly 10% annually, and people demand for more control in their jobs. To adapt to these conditions, talent strategies should focus on recruiting rapid talent mobility, onboarding, training, and accelerated leadership development. Of course, these variances are not limited to Asia. In fact, every region has their own localized challenges that drive demand for local talent solutions. So, companies which are planning to go global should be prepared with a new HR operating model to integrate global consistency and local flexibility. Here we see the capability gap grid. On the left hand side we see the capability gap index, that is readiness versus urgency. We can see that many organizations in Brazil, Japan and the United Kingdom are struggling to adapt with high negative capability gap index. Deloitte's survey also showed that 81% of large organizations having more than 10,000 employees reported that implementing a global HR model is urgent and important. How HR strategies can be applied globally? It can be done first by the use of global technology platforms. If organizations are unable to leverage technology to their advantage, they will be forced to work in functional isolation and will not be able to grow or succeed. Thus, implementing a common global technology platform is necessary to share useful resources of the company, as it can act as a backbone for the HR functions. Managers and employees can easily use them to coordinate activities and be up to date on the business of their organizations. Here we see many of the technology platforms like Medium, Facebook, Airbnb, Crunchbase, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, AngelList, etc. Nurture HR leaders. Organizations should invest in training and development of their HR team to ensure that each member is skilled in using all tools and data and feels connected to the larger HR community. They should be constantly encouraged to be aware of leading practices and new ideas in global marketplace. Here, leaders should communicate the leadership profile, cultivate a culture of risk taking, use knowledge sharing as a tool for leadership development, exposing leaders to each other and enriching experiences, and create strong ties between HR and business leaders. This will result in 37% higher revenue per employee, 9% higher gross profit margin, 5 times more likely to be highly effective at anticipating and responding to change, and 10 times more likely to be highly effective at identifying and developing leaders if we have mature leadership. Another way how HR strategies can be applied globally is empower local teams. Local expert teams should be given autonomy to innovate and to customize corporate programs according to the demands of local people and culture. This will motivate locals to work for the organization and also enhance image of the company in the foreign country. Next is establish core set of global HR practices. Organizations can create a team of experts who will learn the best practices from all the local businesses, partners, and establish a core set of HR services for the whole community. Next is create deep specialists. HR generalists can be reallocated to other important areas such as recruiting, talent management, organizational learning and development, employee relations, compensation and reward management, etc. These specialists should be well connected and should share knowledge and expertise with each other. Define appropriate standards of performance for HR. Success of HR should be defined not in terms of cost cutting but by HR's ability to drive business performance and growth. Human resource function needs to be treated as a key strategic partner in any global undertaking. Global integration and local customization are twin goals attainable through implementing proper HR model and by leveraging global technology platforms. So students, let's now summarize what we have studied in this module. Human resource management is critical to the success of any global endeavor. Human resource function needs to be treated as a key strategic partner in any global undertaking. A well-established HR strategy will enable the organization to recruit, train and manage the right mix of talent in the global arena. Also, enabling business to cut costs. Global integration and local customization are twin goals that can be attained through implementation of a proper HR model by leveraging global technology platforms. Global consistency and standards will ensure efficiency and scale. Local flexibility will accelerate growth. Thank you.